Welcome back. You're watching Power News. The Indian power sector today is in the state of dilemma, with emerging bottlenecks in areas like fuel availability, land acquisition and environmental clearance threatening to choke investment inflows into the industry. The worsening financial health of State Electricity Board is hurting the investors' confidence as well. The industry was initially banking on the centre to bring the power sector on the right path with fresh policy initiatives, but the thought is yet to be realised due to revelation of high-profile corruption cases.
Scores of power projects awarded through the tariff bidding process are facing the prospect of default on power supply contracts due to issues related to coal supply.
Power sector is growing at the rate of 9 to 10%, whereas coal production is growing by 7 to 8% in some cases. Then the captive coal blocks allocated to the states and to the developers, much of them have not come through precisely because it's a long gestation period. Most of them are expected by 2014-2015. We have some shortage in supply. That's why we are importing coal. And I think another 2-3 years, the 10 to 15% shortage in supply will continue, and Power Ministry is aware of this and making all effort so that there is no loss of generation due to shortage of coal.
Coal India Limited is not in a position to meet the coal demand, while international coal prices have shot up far beyond expectations, throwing developers' calculation haywire. Now these companies want to be bailed out. According to I.P.P, the international coal prices have raised because of factors which were not foreseeable, but the centre is reluctant to take up the developers' case for fear of triggering into a political controversy.
In the past, the thought process was that once the coal linkage letters are issued, the projects have at least the assurance, a firm assurance of the coal supply. But it has been seen that that's not happening because Coal India is also not able to increase its coal production. So there are serious doubts. And in the process, most of the promoters, most of the bankers and most of the equity investors have got less faith in these fuel linkages, and that's certainly going to affect the beginning and the commissioning and the progress of the new projects which are going to come up in the 12th 5-year plan.
Meanwhile, land acquisition is becoming difficult day by day. The centre had initiated the process for amending the law to facilitate land acquisition for power projects. Securing environmental power projects has also become difficult as the Ministry of Environment and Forest tightening regulations are in a view of mounting global concerns on climate change.
In the last 2 years particularly, both these issues, land acquisition and environmental clearance, have become the real bottleneck and hurdles in the development of power projects, the coal mine projects, in general economic development. The categorization by the Ministry of Environment and Forest of the coal area into go and non-go is ridiculous. Planning Commission has rightly said that this does not get supported by any law and this categorization must go. And so is the case with the land acquisition. If land acquisition process is made more and more complex, people are not facilitated, saying that if the project is done by the private sector, it is not public purpose. Again, it doesn't make sense, because whatever is being done by the private sector in the infrastructure sector particularly is of public interest. If a power project is being developed by government company or it is being developed by a private company, to say that if it is developed by the private company, it is not public purpose, that's not fair.
State still continues to drag their feet on implementing critical reforms that would make power distribution a financially viable business. As a result, the gap between DISCOM's expenditure and revenue is growing at a fast pace. The outstanding loans of DISCOMs, estimated at Rs 1.53 lakh crores, have become unpayable.
The Shunglu Committee, constituted by the Centre to examine systematic issues impacting the financial health of DISCOMs, has slammed the state government for eroding the institution of electricity regulation in its preliminary report. The Centre saved electricity boards from financial bankruptcy in 2001 and 2. But now the states have once again started approaching the Centre for similar bailout packages. With camera person Mohit Kesli, this is Isha Kalra for Power News, New Delhi.
New policy initiatives are required to restore the momentum of the power sector. The Shunglu Committee's final report, which is expected soon, would help the centre finalise its strategy to tackle the problems of state power sectors. The centre must engage states in negotiation on power sector reforms. Otherwise, a decelerating power sector could drag down the overall economic growth of the country. Time for another short break. On the other side of the break, we have an exclusive report on Indian EPC industry and Delhi Bill 2011. Keep watching Power News.